Hi there, so I want to share some evidence-based practices that I do in my own classroom. So I currently teach a digital design class at an international school in Taiwan for grade 7 to 9. And I have three evidence-based practices that really help my students learning. First is spaced repetition, or I like to call it a spiral learning approach because this is basically review prior concept at the beginning of each class. So kind of just a recap of what's being learned and taught, and then I will find connections to current lesson and then to connect the dots and then reinforce understanding. So I think, for example, I think one of my lessons we were doing a contrast about color, size, and layout in design, and then in the following lesson, I made sure to review these concepts and then have students apply these design principles in design practices to apply these contrast principles. So kind of provide students an opportunity to review what is being taught before they, enter the next assignment. And the next technique I use is mnemonic mnemonics. It's basically, trying to find a catch points. For example, to use sound cues or acronyms to help students quickly catch up the lesson content. So for example, one of my lessons we're learning typography, and there is serif fonts and sans serif fonts. So we are learning sans serif. Sans, S-A-N, is a French word meaning without, but in Chinese it sounds like euphoria. So I think I kind of just use that sound cue to just introduce this concept of typography sans serif, meaning that when sans serif, this typography is widely used in website design. So lots of modern web pages or digital products use this kind of font, so to give readers a enjoyable experience. So that's kind of connecting the dots between the word song and the Chinese meaning euphoria. And lastly, I want to introduce Feynman technique. This technique is basically to simplify the concept that's being taught to my students. So for example, in design, we have some jargons. In one of our lessons, we're learning proximity, which is a term that about the distance between different objects determines the relationship of these objects. So for example, if their two objects are close enough, they have a relationship. If they are far apart, maybe they're not very relevant or related. So by simplifying my explanation using visual cues to help my student to learn this word, because proximity is a bit of an advanced word for my students because their first language is not English. And then in that lesson, I also use a real practice that have students group objects based on how close or how far they can decide how to group the objects, and then to use the distance to indicate the relationship of these objects. So to simplify terms is the technique I use a lot. And we also use a real practical application proximity. We have online website design tools to have students kind of navigate through the design and help them understand the term. So I think these techniques are they're really helping my students have more enhanced comprehension, increase their engagement, and improve their learning retention. So I hope I'll keep exploring more evidence-based techniques to help my students to learn. And thank you for listening.